You did have another crisis about 4 years ago. Man in the mirror. You want to talk about it?
Well, I woke up one morning. I was kind of tooling along. I had turned 40, you know, not around that same time, and I woke up one morning, looked in the mirror, and thought to myself, I don't know who this guy is. I had, in the physical sense, my weight had ballooned up. I was almost 300 pounds. I was miserable. I was.
You say you hadn't written a song in 5 years?
I hadn't written a song in a long time, and I made some choices that took me a little off track. And I don't mean like, oh, I was going out on benders, or anything. It was just those little things where maybe you don't spend that time with the Lord like you should, or just the little things that kind of take you a little off track. And so eventually, when you go off track long enough, you find yourself way off track.
Way out.
And
How did I get here?
Exactly. And so I looked at myself and went, Dave, who are you? I don't even know who you are anymore. And so I started trimming the fat. I started running, exercising. I actually ended up running a couple of full-length marathons.
Yeah, this is huge. I think the purpose-driven life was a catalyst.
And it
for you.
Absolutely was. I was reading that book, and I think the biggest turning point was when I got to the point where it says, "It's not about you, it's about Him." And I went, you know.
What is it? Marathon is 26 point what? Miles?
Yeah, 26.2
miles.
miles.
0.2. You did it twice.
I did it twice.
From 300 pounds
Right.
to a marathon man.
Right. And the first one was life-changing. I had only run, up to the point of the day of the actual marathon, I had only run a total of 15 miles. Like the longest run was 15 miles, and it almost killed me. Because I was still not I'm not a little guy now. So I'd lost a few pounds, but not a bunch. I had only done 15 miles. I got up to the halfway mark, and in Memphis, the Memphis Marathon, the halfway mark is Sun Studios, where Elvis recorded his first hit. So so I got to the halfway mark, and I'm coming up on it, which is 13 miles, and I'm praying. I'm going, Lord, I had to decide, was I going to go for the whole marathon or just the half? I wanted that medal. They give you a medal for finishing. I wanted the medal, you know. I got to the halfway point, and I said, you know, I've done 13 miles. I know I can do this. I've never gone past 15. Do we go for the half, or do we go for the impossible? And so I got to the halfway mark and went, I'm going for the impossible. And I prayed and I said, God, what am I going to do? I've never done this before. This is, you know, 11 miles more than I've ever done. What if I only make it, you know, 20 miles? What if I only make it 18 miles? What do I do? And the Lord spoke to me right then and said, Dave, it doesn't matter if you go 26.2 feet, 26.2 inches, or 26.2 miles. Whatever point you stop at, I'm going to be right there with you.
Oh,
and
so
I went for
encouraging. We were challenged about this in church on Sunday. What are we risking this year? Where are we trusting God outside our comfort zone?
Right.
Just a quote from you. You wanted desperately to be known and to find a place of safety. You got involved with men's group, the singles group in the church. Right. And now you're leading the charge in so many wonderful things. I love the Healthy Hope Running Club.
Right.
That's in the church.
Right.
And you meet in Starbucks with songwriters, not necessarily followers of Christ. Tell us about that.
You know, I slowed down a little bit. Like the last half of last year, I slowed down a little bit on my playing out so I could spend a little more time with Abby. Although I've always put her before the music, but at any given point, say over the last year and a half or 2 years, I could be in a given week, in addition to working a regular full-time job, I could be playing in a college bar, a coffee shop, or two, and then on Sunday morning leading worship for the singles at my church. So, and I'm playing almost all the same songs. I can play. I've got some real heavily spiritually oriented songs I can play in a club, and nobody ever challenges me because I'm just trying to love people. Wherever I go, whether it's the singles group at church or whether it's at this club across town, I just want people to know that there's hope.
And this is your mission.
Right.
I mean, you have a full-time job.
Right. Oh yeah.
With food.
Right. Food safety.
Food safety. Big issue
Keeping
right now.
the world safe. That's
Woo.
right.
But this is what you want to do. You want to bring hope with your music.
Right.
You're taking it places that aren't necessarily easy to get into.
That's true. And when I was young, at the age of 17, I wanted to go out and take on the world. You know, I wanted to save the world. And here now, as I've grown a little older, my goal is if I can make your life better for a 3.5-minute song, that's okay with me.
I know you've been in prisons. Right now, though, you're also doing a documentary. I mean, we're on the heels of the Oscar here.
Right.
A former Hollywood stuntman. Can you tell us really fast what that's about?
Yeah, his name was John 316 Cook. He had it changed from John Cook to John 316.
Really?
He was an evangelist from the 70s. He came to town to preach at our church. Gave me a little cross. He used to have John 316 embroidered on his lapels and his sleeves. He meant something to me as a child. I looked him up. He's been in Vegas feeding the homeless for 20 years. And I called him up. He's in very poor health. And so I called him up and said, I want to tell your story. He said, come on out. So I went out and shot a bunch of video with him. He's got an incredible life story, and I'm working on that documentary now. And I just found a guy to play him as a young man in Memphis, a guy named Eric Robinette. I found him in a grocery store, and I stalked him for like 10 minutes and went, dude, you're going to freak, but I want you to be in my documentary. And he goes, you know, I had an intuition that this was going to happen. I'm in. So we're working on it.
Wow, we're going to have to track with you. Have you been here before?
I've been to Canada once, but I was in high school for the Toronto Baptist World Alliance back in like 79, 80, something like that.
Dave Nicar, you got to come back.
I'll absolutely come back.
Ooh,
thank you.
Castaway is available now. Where? Everywhere.
Well, yeah, you know, you can. It's on Amazon.com,
Yeah.
iTunes, DaveNicar.com, all over.
Dave Nicar.
Thank you for having me
Worth
today.
the wait for God, wasn't it?
Absolutely, 100%.
Wow.
I was a castaway. He found me.
No longer.
No.
Oh, what a great story.